same U.S. laws that protect U.S. biologic pharmaceuticals here in our country, specifically the 12-year period, would be included in TPP to ensure that those same safeguards and IP protections are in place in the countries we are about to trade with. Do you know if USTR has made a decision on that?
We have, again, this is an issue, Congressman, that we understand there are very strong differences. We are aware. Congress, I think, in the health care bill, put up a 12-year period for biologics, but I'm sure, as you know, the administration in its budget has wanted a 7-year period, and I think you can understand where my equities would come down on that. But we have not tabled a provision on the biologics yet as we continue to try to see if we can find a proper balance.
Well, I'm not sure even the most optimistic member of Congress would assume that the president's budget is going to pass, considering the fact last year his budget didn't get a single vote, even from his own party. But having said that, whether the period is 7 years or 12, would it be a more fair question to say, regardless of what the U.S. law is of the land at the time you negotiate TPP, that it will be your objective to ensure that whatever that period of protection is in U.S. law, you will work to try and get that same protection as a part of TPP?
We're going to try to get the strongest provisions that we can and understand this is one where we have some of the strongest headway because of some of the other countries that, frankly, have a very different approach to this.
Well, you can understand our concern in terms of protecting our jobs here in the country and intellectual property and the money that's invested there if we don't have those same protections.
Yes, sir.
Second, state-owned enterprises. You're well aware of the large amount of foreign and direct investment, specifically from the country of China. The overwhelming majority of that foreign direct investment is from state-owned enterprises. What assurances can you give us that TPP will have not only mechanisms, not only rules in place, but most importantly, mechanisms in place to enforce competitive disadvantages that state-owned enterprises may have when dealing with a market-based companies here in the United States?
Well, the best answer I can give you, and understand we haven't finished, but I will tell you for precisely the reasons you articulated, Congressman, this is the first time we've ever tabled a separate chapter on state-owned enterprises. We've heard from you, but just as critically, we've heard from businesses the frustration with dealing with them, competing with them, and for that reason, we have insisted and we have tabled a chapter on state-owned enterprises to make sure that if they're going to be there, they've got to be transparent, they've got to operate on market principles, and then having disciplines that we didn't know about, say, for example, 10 years ago, trying to build those into the Trans-Pacific Partnership.
I have a specific question about whether or not the administration is prepared to rethink the need for maintaining high tariffs on consumer goods. As you know, when we do that, oftentimes it's consumers who pay those higher tariffs. Specifically, one industry is the footwear companies who virtually no footwear is produced here in the United States, and by having large tariffs on U.S.-based companies who produce goods overseas and import, you're basically taxing, quite frankly, the middle class and the people who are buying those consumer goods. What kind of, I've heard the administration say we need a 21st century approach to this. How do you see that shaking out?
Well, there is, some of your colleagues from the Northeast would be quick to tell you there is some footwear made here with LL Bean and with New Balance. And again, there's everything we want to strike that appropriate balance. If there is anything in which we all agree, the real winner of trade liberalization are consumers. But even the American public have told us they don't want to trade cheaper T-shirts and tennis shoes for jobs. And so we want the right balance to make sure we aren't punishing consumers, but we want to protect America's manufacturing base where we can.
Okay, finally, the pork industry in the United States is being significantly hurt by Canada's recent addition of federal subsidies, their provincial and federal government subsidies of their hog industry. And as a result, the pork producers here in the United States have calculated it's going to cost thousands of jobs, putting our pork industry at a competitive disadvantage because the Canadian government has decided to subsidize their production. I'm just wondering if Canada's inclusion in TPP eventually would, that perhaps would be something that would be on your radar to get them to back down from their federal subsidies of that industry.
It would be, and as you heard me say, Congressman, no industry has been more supportive of our trade liberalization than the pork industry. One of the issues they have raised, and we will address with Canada, honestly, through the Federal Register process we went through in terms of their joining TPP, would be this issue.
Okay,
All right,
thank you.
Ms. Jenkins is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.